Listen closely. This isn't just noise. It's not hype, it's a message, and it's directed at you. Greetings, cherished anointed one. There's a reason Elon Musk, a man driven by logic and vision, wants to speak to you. Not the crowd, not the influencers. You. Because while others have tried to erase you from their narratives, your energy has made that impossible. Why are they still talking about you even when they're not supporting you? Why are your silent moves making the loudest noise in rooms you've never stepped foot in? Because, whether they admit it or not, you're spiritually inevitable. They tried to ignore you. Now they host full meetings. About you. They said you were irrelevant, but couldn't stop orbiting your name. Why? Because you shift the atmosphere. You don't just walk into spaces, you recalibrate them. People who haven't faced their shadows feel it when you're near. And when healing is too hard, they start talking instead. Even Elon knows what this means. He's seen it in the world of innovation, disruption, and power. The ones who are truly chosen don't ask for attention. They become the center of gravity. And now, he wants to tell you something. Not in a boardroom, not in a press release, but with a message tailored to the one who's been watched, discussed, feared, and admired, all in silence. You are not a mystery. You are a phenomenon. If the flies won't leave, it's not curiosity, it's infestation. And if your name won't leave their mouths, it's not gossip, it's impact. Chosen one, your time isn't coming. It's already here. And Elon Musk just confirmed it. It raises the issue, however, why they are so enamored with you. Hold on tight, because when this is all done, you'll not only know why you're the talk of the town, but you'll know why you always will be. Let's begin. First of all, you awaken the darkness they have buried for their whole lives. Because of whatever you've done wrong, you are not being discussed. People are talking about you because your identity naturally reveals things that others have been attempting to conceal for years. There is a change as soon as you enter a room. It's not because you're loud, showy, or attempting to fill space, but rather because your energy hits different. It's genuine, unfiltered, and doesn't blend in with the masks. People are uneasy only because of it. Why? Since the majority of individuals have centered their whole lives on acting, they pretend to be confident, joyful, and nice. Then you appear just being. They are unaware that the uneasiness they have in your presence is about them, not about you. You evoke emotions in them that they have been attempting to repress. The falsehoods people tell themselves are triggered by the reality you live within your soul. You don't even need to speak. The layers they have painstakingly built begin to come off just by being around them. It reveals the fears they have concealed, the remorse they have buried, and the jealousy they have ignored. That's the reason people whisper, gossip, and keep your name in their mouths. You bring to their attention everything they refuse to confront. The crazy thing is that you're not intentionally doing anything. You're simply turning up. You're not attempting to set anybody off. But that's the consequence of selected ones. You have a confrontational yet non-combative spirit. It says a lot without saying anything. Although you don't try to heal their wounds, your presence makes them visible. The first thing that comes to mind when someone isn't ready to heal is to protect. They use rumor to attack when they are unable to defend with the facts. You're the talk of the town because you kept their secrets a secret. All you did was remind them that they have some with your energy. Second, you are a living example of why excuses are false. Although many people don't want to acknowledge it aloud, they secretly harbor the belief that success can only be attained under certain circumstances, such as having the right background, money, connections, or support. It helps them sleep at night and offers them an excuse to remain trapped. The wealthy and fortunate don't have to face the reality that they've been wasting time playing small and making excuses if success is reserved for them. But then someone like you appears, someone who rose despite having none of those alleged advantages. They're uncomfortable now. You didn't wait for a safety net, for a claim, or for the right time. You just made a move. Things that ought to have shattered you were broken by you. When most people would have given up, you continued to walk, healed without a crowd, and developed your life while bleeding. People are afraid of that sort of resilience. It disproves their justifications. If I did it without all that, what's your excuse? Is a question they don't want to answer. Therefore, it puts a mirror in their face. They thereby reverse the script. They attempt to convince you that you must have lied, cheated, faked it, or been fortunate. Recognizing that you are the genuine thing entails acknowledging that they aren't working hard enough. That explains why they converse and keep such a close eye on you. They're not only watching, they're researching, searching for weaknesses, attempting to unearth evidence that you're not who you claim to be. They can continue postponing their own development if they can persuade themselves that your elevation isn't real. In actuality, you are a disturbance to them rather than just a person. You're a live example of how metamorphosis may occur without consent. They now have to face the reality that their formula never worked in the first place, since you didn't follow it. Third, they research you because you serve as a guide to a world they are unable to reach. People are studying you like a hidden handbook to a life they have never accessed. And you are unaware of it. You're intriguing only because you don't live by the book they were given. Your movements, speech, and reactions are all distinct. You possess an inner wisdom that cannot be accounted for by social circles, wealth, or education. It is old, spiritual, and perplexing to those who have been conditioned to believe solely in what they can quantify and forecast. Therefore, people watch you from a distance, in silence, or worse, via gossip, rather than asking you how you came to be that way. They're keeping an eye on your recovery, decisions, quiet, triumphs, and transformations. They're learning from you, even if they don't acknowledge it. You're demonstrating to them a sort of confidence that doesn't need an audience, a strength that doesn't depend on control, and a success that wasn't given away. It was created during the silent hours when you prioritized development above comfort, in the shadows and in the invisible. You're teaching people that healing is a holy spiral rather than a straight line, and that you don't have to be flawless to be strong. They are watching because they know deep down that you have tapped into something genuine, something they want for but are unable to replicate, not because they are interested. They speak about it because it irritates them. They label your steps because they are unable to comprehend them. They doubt your intentions as they are unable to identify your source. The tranquility you possess, the certainty, the clarity, and the connection is what people really want. Type Amen. To embrace the angel's blessings, show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. You're demonstrating to them how to follow spirit rather than how to follow trends. That can only be fostered. It cannot be replicated. You are the subject because of this. People aren't even aware that you're waking them. You're not simply existing. Fourth, your energy disrupts manipulation-based systems. Simply by being yourself, you cause disruptions, and many people are ill-equipped to deal with that. The majority of social settings, including those in the workplace, family, church, and online, are based on silent agreements. You didn't sign that contract, however. We'll all pretend, we'll all compete, we'll all play nice, and no one will call out the nonsense. You enter without having to establish yourself or exert dominance, which in some ways puts those who are hooked to control in danger. You don't seek approval. You don't pretend to be humble. You're also not afraid to stand for yourself. The manipulation is short-circuited by that energy. People may sense that you are able to see through things. If you see other people applauding dysfunction, you shouldn't do the same. You don't play politics to advance or laugh at phony jokes. People lose their hold on you when you stop using those little power rituals, such as flattery, gossip, and subtly intimidating others. Their structure is being tampered with by you. You're not abiding by the unspoken standards, and sincerity becomes dangerous in environments where ego and delusion are the norm. They begin to accuse you of being too much, too intense, too distant, or not a team player. In actuality, however, your presence makes it difficult for others to continue performing. Nothing has to be revealed by you. Your energy does it for you. Therefore, they attempt to make you a cautionary tale rather than a growing person. When they say, "Watch out for them," it's projection. When they say, "They think they're better than everyone," they're saying, "They won't let us manipulate them, so stay away." It's not that you're attempting to take control. Rather, they're feeling helpless because you won't allow them to be dominated. The game isn't why you're here. You're here to dispel the myth that the game was ever important. They converse for that reason. They fabricate the tale because they know deep down that you are evidence that the whole system can be circumvented. And that's what frightens them the most. Fifth, they speak because they don't feel like they can manage you. When people realize they have no control over you, they start talking. You cannot be purchased with attention, charmed into submission, frightened into quiet, or guilt-tripped. And it makes some people crazy. Most people are used to using a glance, a praise, a rumor, or even silence to sway others. But it doesn't work when they attempt it on you. You don't respond as they anticipate. You don't beg to be welcomed or want their acceptance. Their ego is unable to cope with the sense of helplessness that results from it. When someone is unable to maintain emotional control over you, they will begin to hunt for other methods to deal with you, which often involves gossip. A cheap control is gossip. It's a method of reworking the tale to give them the impression that they still control it. They will attempt to influence how other people see you if they are unable to influence your thoughts. They will turn your independence into coldness, your limits into resentment, and your confidence into conceit. It's because they lost control of you and are at a loss for what to do, not because those things are true. Even if it's indirectly, they must feel that they still have control over you. In an attempt to isolate you or dampen your light, they sow little seeds of doubt in other people's minds. However, it just serves to highlight how flimsy the facade they have created is. You demonstrated that they are not as self-assured as they seem to be. They wouldn't have to mention you if they were really unconcerned. The issue is not with you. What eats them alive is the knowledge that true power cannot be purchased or intimidated. You're not fighting back against their manipulation. It can't get to you. Talking becomes their final option once they understand that. Not because they care, but rather because they lost. Sixth, they can't imagine serenity without doing, so they see your composure as conceit. You cease striving to please other people when you're really at peace with yourself. People who have only ever felt appreciated while performing are perplexed by it. They are unnerved by your composure, your quiet assurance, and your reluctance to overextend or over-explain. To them, peace is something that must be gained with continuous acclaim, agreement, and acceptance. They are thus unsure of how to react to you when you arrive without requiring any of it. They begin to misread your vibe. Your composure turns into arrogance to them. You must believe that you are superior because you are silent. You must be frigid because of your limits. They are unable to understand that your quiet is about self-possession rather than arrogance. You are only trying to be yourself. You are not attempting to be superior to anybody. However, that type of candor is insulting to someone who has spent years cultivating an image in order to feel accepted. They are unaware that you were formerly a player of the game. You understand what it's like to act, shrink, bend, and fake in order to win someone over or maintain harmony. However, you outgrown it. You overcame your anxieties, recovered from your injuries, and discovered a calm that is independent of achievement. You're prepared to give up that degree of inner peace for anyone's favor, now that you've discovered it. However, many who are still stuck in that outdated way of thinking are unaware of that. You don't need their approval, so they believe you're chilly. Because you don't debate or prove yourself, they believe you to be aloof. Because you are no longer emotionally involved in every storm that surrounds you, they see you as distant. You're really free. To those who remain shackled, however, freedom seems to be conceit. They chatter because they know deep down that they are sick of acting, but aren't prepared to quit because of your composure. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. The seventh is your evidence that heavenly favor is acknowledged and cannot be gained. According to their norms, at least, you shouldn't have what you have. You didn't fit in with the herd, flatter the proper people, or endure enough suffering to win their acceptance. You didn't adhere to the plan. Nevertheless, you are walking with an inexplicable grace and favor. And it is the reason why people are angry. Favor is meant to be gained in their universe by hard work, conflict, or strategic alignment. But it's simply that way with you. It wasn't forced by you. You didn't kowtow to obtain it, and you didn't fake it. It was always on you, so it's on you now. People that are egotistical can't tolerate that type of behavior. They have dedicated their lives to earning what comes easily to you. They engaged in political maneuvering. They acquired the ability to blend in. They practiced acting modest or making a deep tone, all to have access to a portion of what naturally flows through you. They begin to fall apart when they realize that their rituals did not provide them with what your being provides. Your own being demonstrates that divine favor, recognizes alignment, and is unaffected by performance. You suffered more, thus you didn't win. You sold a sobtail, which is why you weren't chosen. It is impossible for anyone to replicate your calling, which is why you were selected. Thus, they attempt to undermine it. They attempt to portray you as manipulative, conceited, or false. Because people will cease applauding your act if they begin to see the real you. They fail to realize that you never required their stage, title, or regulations. Before any of them had a chance to speak, you were marked. That is the reason you are the target. Because you remind people that heavenly favor is not subject to human politics. Not because you did anything wrong. It makes a decision. It also picked you. They're glued to your frequency, number 8. You may hear someone declare they don't like you, yet their demeanor betrays a different attitude. Your presence electrifies something inside of them that they can't quite get rid of, like a coffee jolt. They get uncomfortable since it arouses emotions they don't want to confront. Whether they acknowledge it or not, they're captivated because you're tapping into a frequency that rocks their foundation. They may use insulting language or rumors to attempt to distance themselves from you. However, your atmosphere continues to entice them behind the scenes. They are unable to turn it off, much like a soundtrack. They are hooked to the way you simultaneously make them feel alive and uneasy. Not because they despise you. Their life on autopilot is disturbed by your energy. It compels people to face their own unhappiness, suppressed urges, or neglected aspects of themselves. It's difficult to manage that strain, so they lash out rather than admit it. The annoyance is only an outward manifestation of a deeper, unidentified yearning. They speak about you all the time because their soul is still processing what you stand for, a freedom and truth that is both alluring and dangerous. They can't put down the mirror that is your frequency. It represents what people want to be, but lack the courage to pursue. As a result, they mentally battle you, attempting to understand why you frighten them so much. Their unintentional method of using your power is this preoccupation. You have evolved into a conundrum that pushes them beyond their comfort zones. Your name will continue to reverberate in their talks until they find out how to include what you have to offer. Being the focus of their obsession really indicates that you're doing something properly. By upending their routine and reminding them that life is more than their constrained scripts, you're shaking things up. Because of this, even if they claim to want to stop talking about you, they can't. They use your name as a coping strategy. Number 9. It's seldom about you when others obsess over you. Their comfortable diversion from the emptiness they're really experiencing inside is your name. They use your story, every detail, every error, every victory, to fill the void in their own life, rather of facing their own anxieties, shortcomings, or regrets. Analyzing your shortcomings is simpler than enduring their anguish. They avoid staring in the mirror by chatting about you. For them, you turn into a live soap opera, a never-ending mental performance that stimulates their emotions and keeps their brains occupied without putting them in danger of actual vulnerability. Like a TV repeat, they play back your previous choices in an attempt to discover a reason why you're not perfect. But in reality, they're really attempting to persuade themselves that their problems are more significant or legitimate. They are fabricating a story in which you are the issue when they spread rumors about your reputation or your movements. It hurts too much to acknowledge that they are unhappy or trapped in their own lives. Although you didn't ask to be their crutch, your presence served as a handy way for them to get out of their own misery. They are unaware of the amount of effort they put into keeping you at the forefront of their thoughts in order to avoid slipping into their own shadows. They will have less time to cope with their own tale the more they concentrate on yours. It's illuminating, but it's also harsh. Their fixation on you serves as a mirror, reflecting their incapacity to confront reality. Your name keeps popping up in talks because of this. It's not about your identity. It's about what you stand for, drawing attention to their resistance to change. They will continue to take advantage of you in order to avoid doing the difficult task of mending themselves until they shift that focus inward.